waiting for you. Thinking back, just perhaps you got trapped like the rest of us, and never found a way to break through. Now we're here with a torch. Now we're here. Can you recognize the rescue party? We've finally come for you. Translucent new crusaders with no agenda, no agenda.
Hey, I'm Miss Chrissie,
And I'm Steve.
and this is JAGcast, episode 123, the podcast of the Jenkintown Arts Garage.
Yeah, where we normally talk to artists, entrepreneurs, and other interesting people at the intersection of the arts and technology. But today, once again, is a special day. I guess because it's summer. and
Everything's
it's,
special.
and it's hard to get all the scheduling worked out. But we do have some good guests in the pipeline. But for today, I guess Chrissie is going to be my guest, or I'm going to be Chrissie's guest. I guess it's more you're going to be my guest today because we're going to talk about how you actually run your crazy life and and operate a small business.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how I sort of kind of keep it all together.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the tools, the analog and digital tools that you use, and your kind of weird process, and hopefully can learn something if you're ever interested in how can someone like Miss Chrissie keep her stuff together, because we have to be careful of the YouTube guidelines here with the language.
Yeah. So my life is super busy. Like, take a regular person's life and make it extra busy. I in addition to like doing the day-to-day stuff of my business, I also still teach, and I have a family that I take care of and feed from time to time. So so we're going to talk a little bit about my process. This is something the first thing we're going to talk about is what I call dumping out my brain. And it sounds a little funny, but it's actually one of the most helpful things I ever started doing. So what I do is, because when I wake up, my brain is like on 10.
10.
So yeah, like it's on 10. It's just thinking of all the millions of things I need to do either today or tomorrow or in the future. And it's just kind of all over the place. Like there's no organized thoughts. It's just like jumbly thoughts like crazy. So what I started doing is I have a notebook that I keep in my kitchen, and it literally sits on the counter, and there's nothing special to this notebook. I actually go through them quite quickly, and usually I just use the notebooks that my kids like kind of like their leftovers from school. You know how like all the kids
if you're watching this, you can see Chrissie's current notebook.
Yeah. So, and it's
Nothing
running out of
special.
pages now. So, but anyway, so there's like literally nothing special about these notebooks. And it ends up just being like scratch paper. So I unload everything I'm thinking. And I don't even I just write it down and walk away from it. I don't do anything like, oh, I should put that in order or I should do X, Y, Z. Nope. I just write these giant scroggly lists. So that way I have everything off my mind.
I mean, like this?
Yeah, and they're pretty much illegible to regular people.
Yeah, so for the listeners who aren't watching this, we see a Chrissie's handwritten list. I can't. I think I can read it. I think that one is Vimeo.
Yeah, so on
Video.
this list, I don't know, MailChimp, and it's like a business. It's business and like personal related.
Yeah,
It's like
you have
everything that's on my
orthodontist
mind.
listed.
Yeah,
anything.
So yeah, I had to get Cynthia's phone fixed. I had to pick up Amelia's medicine. Anything I can possibly think of, and it's not always things I have to do today. it may be things I have to do next week, but it's just that it's on my mind and I want to make sure I put it somewhere so I don't forget about it. So, like right now, summer, so things are a little bit crazy, but during the year, when the kids are in school, I, write this list. Then I make my coffee and I go about like my mom duties. I pack lunch, I get the kids up, I do all the like regular day-to-day stuff, and I don't even look at it again until after they've gone to school. And then once they've gone to school, I'll go back through the list and like organize my thoughts. If there's a lot of things that have to be done, I'll prioritize like 3 things I'm going to try to get done today, and then I'll kind of go from there. Um yeah, so that is my brain dump, as I like to
So
call
you
it.
so your brain dump onto whatever scrap of paper you have sitting around.
I prefer a notebook just so because I have generally used like literal scraps of paper, but then
Yeah, I've seen that.
those have gotten lost. Or I'll take the scraps of paper and then just shove them in the notebook and then reorganize them later. Just so
Okay.
I know they're
Okay.
in one place. And that notebook will go to work with me and I'll just shove it in my bag. And then if there's anything like while I'm talking to my teachers or my staff, if there's anything they need me to do, like, oh, can you email parent XYZ? I write it in my little notebook, close it up and take it home with me, and then, look at
Yeah.
it the next day and try to organize my thoughts.
So, this is the first step in the getting things done process and a lot of other productivity processes. The idea being you need to empty your head of all the things that are on your mind because we're human beings. We're not computers. We're not hard drives. We're not good at keeping that stuff in memory. If you don't empty it out somewhere, it just keeps you keep thinking about it in your short-term memory over and over again. It keeps bothering you throughout the day. But if you write it all down in a place that you can reliably find it again, the idea is that you can relax and be kind of more in the moment. So step one with all these systems, and I don't know if you ever read like Getting Things Done or something, but step one was always to
Nope.
do exactly what you're doing. Well, you have independently discovered the first step of emptying your brain. That's
Yeah, I
good.
just got to get it off my mind. Otherwise, I just kind of
Yeah.
feel like I'm running around in little circles all morning. Like, and I'm not getting anything accomplished, nor am I'm just kind of going, oh, I should be doing this. And, I kind of feel like a little ADHD monkey running around my house if I don't write it all
Yeah.
down and then organize my thoughts.
So how
So,
do you organize your thoughts? What do you do after you've written all this stuff
so
down?
after I write the list, when, like I said, it's summer, so it's a little bit weird, but on like a typical day, after the kids go to school, I'll sit down with my cup of coffee and I will look through the items and kind of like group them by kind of like category, like these are work tasks, these are home tasks, these are tasks I can do next week or beyond. And then it's usually the work tasks that, obviously take a little bit of priority. And if the list is really, really long, I pick 3 and I'll label them 1, 2, and 3. And I'll say, you know what? If all I do today is numbers 1, 2, and 3, I did a great job. Now, inevitably, I end up doing other random things like making a phone call or, it's usually home related stuff that like the extra stuff that gets done, like paying the trash bill or something. But if the list is really, really long, I just pick 3 and say, like, okay, do these 3 and then you're good. And anything else after that is like a bonus.
Do you mark these 3 in your notebook or something?
Yes. So I have the long list and it's kind of categorized, and I'll put like a 1 with a circle and a 2 with a circle and a 3 with a circle. Or sometimes I'll write a sticky like today at the top and then I'll put them on there. I like
Okay.
stickies.
Yeah. So like I know you do stickies as another part of your process, right?
Yeah,
Or
but
is-
so the stickies are kind of related to you know, I do make a point of doing a 90-day and a 30-day plan. So, then this is related to my business, obviously not related to like my household, the running of my household, but I do sit down at the beginning of each quarter and I write down kind of like it's always with three big goals that I would like to accomplish over the next 3 months. And those are usually like bigger projects. We're not talking about like like email Susie's mom type thing. We're talking bigger projects that require multiple steps. So I lay those out, and then, kind of loosely lay out under each project what has to happen to make that project complete. So for instance, like I was learning, I wanted to like push some enrollment for summer, but I had to like try to take a Facebook ads training first. So it was like the big goal was to create, a summer enrollment, campaign. But what were the steps underneath of that would like make that possible? Like, so was I going to learn Facebook ads? Was I going to reach back out to people who came to dance last summer? What were like the action steps that I needed to take to make that project complete? So I do that. And then once you have the 90-day plan laid out, it's kind of easy to figure out the 30-day plan, because it's usually just like one or two of the steps of the things from the bigger projects. But it's hard to stay on track when you're running the day-to-day of a business. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky.
So, I mean, what about the Post-it notes?
So the Post-it notes, if you want to show my little computer, they're actually up here now. So you can see this is my Q3 Post-it notes. So in the third quarter, these are the things I'm working on. I need a new hire. I need to prep for my upcoming studio move. And I need a fall registration campaign or whatever. So I just keep those there so I don't forget about them, because like I said, the day-to-day of running a business, there's all sorts of little things that come up all the time. Like someone makes a phone call and they need to reschedule this, or just things that are not projects and really just kind of like a teacher needs a song cut, stuff that's just kind of the nitty-gritty of the day-to-day.
How do you determine what goes on these Post-its? Because these is like seems like the most important space you have, because you're always on your computer.
So it's always it's always the projects. Like my three big project goals are what'll go on here. Yep. For the next 3 months.
For the next for the quarter.
Yeah, for the quarters. Okay. That's why it says Q3 on there. Q3. Yeah. Okay. And then I always do enrollment goals, and these tend to be like outrageously ambitious, but I put them on there anyway because it just kind of keeps me motivated. And then that enrollment sticky note, I will rip it up and update it. Like, like if I met a goal, I'll rip it up, or I'll write little notes like, you got 45 out of 60. You know what I mean? That one ends up looking like a hot mess.
Yeah. For the listeners, it's a photo of Chrissie's laptop keyboard area. On the left is a Post-it note that says Q3 with new hire, prep for move, fall reg. And then enrollment goals on a Post-it note on the other side with things like summer 100 plus, camp 40. So things that make sense to you, but if you didn't explain it, I mean, I guess I could figure out enrollment goals, but these are just your like top level quarterly goals and enrollment goals for your business. But then I also see at the bottom of both of these, there's a little dash line and it says, let's go. What does that mean?
So I always give myself a little motivational slogan, usually for the month. Sometimes they last a little bit longer. So this one's let's go. And I think last month, and I think the 2 previous months, it was moving forward. There's been ones that have been like focus, Chrissy, because I get distracted sometimes, or or finish. Like finish was a motivational word for a while, because I had all these like kind of like mini projects with all these loose ends, and it was like, Jesus Christ, just finish one freaking project. Don't leave like these tiny loose ends floating around. So I do use like a little motivational word, and I mean, it's the side of my laptop, so I see it all day long. I see it in the morning, I see it at night. So it really, it's just constantly visually reminding me. I couldn't put something like that on my phone because, like, or in an app. I know you're like an app person, Steve, but that like
Yeah.
wouldn't do it for me because it
Well,
wouldn't be like in my face all day long.
you could make a little widget and have it right there on your home screen.
I could, or I could just do this with
Or you could
cute
just
post-it notes.
or you could just do this post-it note right here. Okay.
Yeah, so that's my
So to
sticky
review
note thing.
to review so far, your day begins with your brain at 10 and you
Mhm.
dump it into a notebook. Then you pick 3 things for the day if it's a lot of stuff, and you mark them 1, 2, 3, which is also similar to other systems like I think pickle jar system or something like that too, where you pick like the 3 big things, or and then you find smaller things to fill in the gaps of time. Then you use post-it notes on your laptop to keep track of your quarterly goals and your enrollment goals, and you periodically do a 90-day and 30-day plan.
Yep.
At the appropriate time that you would expect to do so during a year. And you always have a motivational slogan. Where do you get the motivational slogans from? Did it just come to you?
Yeah,
your
they just
brain?
come to me. I just think of them.
Well, your
Whatever,
brain's
like,
at 10 when you get up.
yeah,
So
I
it's
know.
a lot of stuff's coming at you.
So, and and the brain dump thing, it's not just like, oh, these are my things. I mean, it'll be crazy things like, retire to the beach will end up on a list or something. You
Oh,
know what I
wow.
mean? Like, it's not just,
I don't know, man. I don't
tasks
know.
and,
I don't know. We're going to have to talk about that one because I don't know if I don't retire to the beach. I'm not
but,
as much of a
I'm
fan
just
of
saying
sand.
it might be something completely unrelated to any near future. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And
Um,
we're not talking about my systems today, but the whole brain dump thing is also a core part of anything I've ever tried. It's a very good thing. And picking the top priorities of the day. Did you learn how to do this stuff, or did you just come up with this system over time?
So some of it I came up with on my own. I am part of like a dance studio owners group, and the 90-day and 30-day plan are part of
Okay.
what they teach. But the other stuff is kind of my own devices. The
Right.
brain dumping thing is definitely I was not aware that that's a system or something, but that like literally saves my life because otherwise I just end up like a crazy lady running around my kitchen going like this way and that way, like, oh, I should do this, oh no, I should do that, this way. It's like it's written down and I'll come back to it at 8:30 a.m.
Nice.
So
So,
Steve, you did make me try some techie things,
Oh yeah,
and
I was
I
going to
thought
bring that
I'd
up.
share some of the techie things I actually like for the people who don't like techie things like me.
Yeah, so what do you use techie things for? Because it sounds like you got a pretty good paper-based system.
So one of the techie things I do is the shared calendars, which you started because you and I have a shared calendar.
Yes. See, technology really useful when you need to collaborate.
Yeah, so that works for
And
me.
you can put emojis in the calendar like I do.
Yeah, I don't do that. But I also have a shared calendar with my kids. We
Ooh.
have a family calendar that my older girls have on their phones, and that I actually love because they're always like, you never tell us anything, which is true because there's 2 of them. So in the past I used to tell one and forget to tell the other, and then I get confused as to who I told. So this works because I just put it on the calendar. Like I'll even put like going out to dinner with grandma, stuff like that on there. And then like doctor's appointments and
I've told you in the past that if something's not on my calendar, it basically doesn't exist for me because I can't keep track of things without some tool like that. So there's been many times where something wasn't on my calendar. Like even today, I was reviewing my calendar for the week, and I remembered that just yesterday I scheduled something to go see, I think, Mission Impossible with my friend Mike. You know Mike.
oh, today?
And I was like,
Tomorrow?
but I couldn't remember specifically which time it was or which theater because we were going over lots of movie times, and so I was like, give me the calendar invite, and he did. So now I know where it is. Like that's for me, the calendar is a complete necessity. I couldn't really function without a calendar. If I didn't have an electronic calendar, I would just use a paper calendar. But I've been using electronic calendars since long before they were cool.
I used to have a paper calendar, but the problem with that is that it doesn't fit in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah. So you use the shared calendar with your kids and with me, and I presume with anybody you need to share dates with.
It's just you guys, and then I have my own like personal calendar.
Yeah, yeah. I have a work calendar, which is like on the work servers, and I have a personal calendar, and kind of integrate them together in the app.
I don't put I know your calendar has all sorts of things on it. Mine does not. It just has like appointments, stuff like that. It doesn't have like my teaching schedule. It doesn't have like camp this week or that. Nope. Just, things that are extra.
So you're not,
because otherwise, honestly, that would overwhelm me if it was all on there because it would be visually too much.
So you don't block schedule like I used to do that. I might do that again. And at work I will do this. I will schedule times just so people will be more reluctant to try to schedule a meeting. But so you don't do that. You're just putting on appointment stuff that has specific
that
dates,
actually
times.
Block scheduling has been a goal of mine, but I've never quite.
It can be good. It can be useful, especially since you already have a 90-day and a 30-day plan. You can just add like a weekly planning session real quick, and you just block out your week. And all the time.
I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that yet, but
Not
it
yet,
has
not
been.
yet. Okay.
Maybe one day.
Well. Okay. So besides the shared calendar, what else are you using? I know there's at least one more product.
No, there's actually two more. So I use Apple Notes and I do shared notes.
Yeah, we're using one of those right now for the
we have shared notes, and then I have an assistant who works from home. She lives in Philly, but she works from home, and her and I have a shared note. So at any point, I'll add to that note, and then the next morning she'll look at it and do what she has to do.
So I don't have a graphic for it, but the shared note, don't you use the @ naming feature in there? So you can like in Apple Notes, kind of like on Twitter or a lot of social networks, you can say @ and then the name of the person who shared, and then it gives them like a notification, I guess, and kind of tells them where there's new stuff.
Yeah, so it's good because she can update it whenever she works on it, and I can update it whenever I work on it, and it's it's an easy way that we can kind of stay out of each other's hair but still communicate. And it's better than text. Yeah,
you just like have check marks and things. Like how do you know when something's done?
She crosses it out.
Like with the cross out, the font, strike through font. Yeah. See, I mean, that's cool. That's like mimicking if you had a shared piece of paper. So that's actually really a clever use of Apple Notes, by the way. I like that.
Oh, thank you. It works out. I like it.
And Apple Notes is really cool. And then there's one more product, right?
Okay, so Trello. I never thought
I am most proud of this influence on you.
I cannot believe I actually use Trello boards because I remember you wanted me to use Trello boards for something, and I was like, this does not make sense. I do not understand it. I want nothing to do with this. And this isn't the Trello board that I use most frequently. The one I use most frequently is the like enrollment one, but that has like people's personal information on it.
This is
I didn't pull this one up.
For listeners, I have a photo or a screenshot of the Trello board from the recently passed recital. So there's nothing personal showing on this.
Right, exactly. So, but I do use a Trello board pretty much every day. Primarily, like I said, for the enrollment process, but it is super helpful when we're planning events. And this is the recital one. We did one for JDA Day. We have one for Leap into Spring, and those are all the same. Well, they're not set up as templates because I don't know how to do that, but I end up
one step at a time. We'll get there.
But I copy it, and then it's all the same cards though because they it's pretty much all the same shtick when you're doing an event.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't even think you're paying for anything. I think you're just
nope. I have all the free plan,
and you're getting a lot of value out of that free plan. I thought for sure you'd have to pay for something by now, but nope, not yet.
Nope.
So so that's cool. So you use that for organizing your work stuff. I know we've used it, and we should probably get back to using it again for the scheduling stuff on the podcast. Because it's in Trello. If you've never used Trello before, it's well, if you can see in the picture, I'll put it back up here. It's you arrange cards in lists, and lists are columns, and it mimics a Kanban, which is a type of like way of organizing tasks. So you usually you set the columns up in order from left to right across the screen, and the columns represent stages in some kind of process. So by default, something like to do, doing, and done, and then you move the cards physically from one column to the next to indicate their progress. And then each card in Trello can have lots of stuff on it, like a title and description in Markdown, by the way. So you can put bold and italic stuff. You can add photos to it, which will show up on the cards. You can assign people to it, have checklists, have comments on there. There's a lot of features, and then even add-on features. So that's what makes Trello so popular, not just in for like everyday business owners, but it's been popular for software developers forever. I mean, that's kind of where it started as like a more simple way.
Yeah, I like it. And this one is pretty like generic to do, doing, done. But the one I use most frequently has like a step one. It's a little more specific. But you can kind of build it as you go and then adjust it.
Yeah.
And then I do like that you can like archive stuff. So like say, if it's like that other board that I use quite frequently, some stuff gets really old. It's like, Jesus Christ, do I really need a card on there from like 6 months ago? But you can just archive it. And actually, if you, for some reason, you need to search it, you can just like put in like the person's name or something, and it does pop back up, and then you can make it active again. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, that's an advantage of a digital tool there. And our podcast one, when we used it, we're using it, it has a specific flow, because there's different steps involved with getting a podcast recorded and published and such. So it's a very useful product. I highly recommend it. I recommend Trello basically all the time to people if they're looking for some digital tool to help them manage tasks, especially to collaborate, because it's intuitive enough that basically anybody can figure it out pretty quickly, and it's not like a super complicated developer tool or anything like that. So
cool. Yeah, so those are there's other random things I do, but those are like kind of the ones that are most important and, kind of keep me super productive and, keep moving my business forward and having a little bit of, a life, which is something I kind of didn't feel like I had, before I started doing some of these things.
Yep. Being organized, it's not like just busy work. It is what lets you be free to live and do the things you want to do. Right?
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So I think we are out of time for this special episode because we had to keep it short today.
Yeah. Short and sweet.
So
sweet and short.
What time is it then, Chrissy?
It is time to wrap it up, Steven.
That's right. Well, you can follow us on the social medias, on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook at Jenkintown Arts Garage. Also, I created a Threads account. You can follow us there on Threads at Jenkintown Arts Garage, if you know what that is. And you can also find out what we're doing at jenkintownartsgarage.com and subscribe to this show at jagcast.show. And I really, really need to upgrade this slide because it does not list that you can, if you feel so inclined, help us out financially by going to jenkintownartsgarage.com/coffee and buy us a coffee, which
it's
will
not
be very
coffee,
helpful.
it's just money.
Yeah, yes, but it's the service is buy me a coffee. Yes,
I mean, if you want to buy me a coffee, I won't complain because I like coffee.
Yeah, look at how much coffee you drink. So we promise we will have some fascinating and amazing guests coming up.
We're working on it.
Summer
scheduling is tough, but yeah, we're working on it.
We're working on it, but I hope this was enjoyable and informative. I learned what did I learn today, Chrissy? I learned from you through your whole process here that Apple Notes is actually way more useful than I even imagined, and I've been an Apple developer for forever.
Cool.
What did you learn in this episode today?
What did I learn?
Did you learn anything?
I learned that apparently I do some productivity system that I never heard of.
Yes. I'll have to give you a copy of Getting Things Done. You'll fall asleep to it. It'd be great if you have trouble sleeping. It's kind of dry.
I never have trouble sleeping, but I can give it a try. All right, Steve. Okay, now you should play the little movie.
Okay. I'll see you.
Okay. Bye.